I started my photography business with a memory card. The funny thing is, the reason was why I opened the studio is because I was afraid of taking pictures outside. Photography is communication. Photography is art. Photography is expression. When Photoshop introduced AI editing, I think I was one of the first photographers to pick it up. Bro, that is me. I think I'm the lazy person in our team.
Hello guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Clicks of Influence podcast. And today we are privileged to have someone you will definitely want to listen to. He is the creative director and owner of Foil Photography here in Dubai. And we're going to be discussing on something very important today. That is scaling your photography business from a freelancer to a studio owner. And he is a studio owner, definitely, guys. So he is the right person to, tell us how he did this. At this point in time, I'll just turn to the other side to welcome Foil Photography to the podcast. Can you start by introducing yourself, sir?
Oh, thank you for having me. My name is Haruna Nseko. That's my real name. But around town, everyone knows me as Fuel. Fuel is the name I gave to myself. Yeah, and then my brands all move around that name. So I have a major company that is Fuel Concepts. We do production, we do advertising. It's registered here in Dubai. And then as a subsidiary, we have Fuel Photography. So a lot of people have met me through Fuel Photography.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll tell you how it came about very soon.
You have to start by telling me how.
Yeah. So how it came about, why Fuel Photography, why a lot of people have known me through Fuel Photography is because when I came to Dubai, actually where I came from, I was a videographer, let me say.
Okay.
I used to do TV content. I used to produce TV shows in Kenya.
Okay.
And then when I came to Dubai, I wanted something that would connect me with people very, very, very fast. And that's how I found myself doing photography. Because with photography, it's easier. Everyone wants pictures. It doesn't matter which level, which scale. Everyone wants still images.
Still images.
Compared to videos or videography. Not a lot of people would want to hire a videographer. But a whole lot of people would want a photographer or photography services. So in my head, I was like, if I take pictures and connect with a lot of people with time, I can now drive back to my whole Fuel Concepts idea of, production, advertising, and digital marketing, what we're currently doing now. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. That's a brilliant take. So let's go back to, the basics, right? What is photography to you?
Photography is communication. Yeah. Photography is art. Photography is expression. Yeah. So it's basically playing with light to express yourself or to portray something. That's why if they give me a camera, a photographer as well, if they give me a camera and they give you a camera with one light, you'll create a whole completely different image. I'll create a whole completely different image. However much it will be kind of similar. Because the angle in which you'll place your image or subject is not the same I'll place. However much you're trying to achieve the same thing. Unless we're given something that we want it to look like this, that's when we shall both try to bring out that thing in the same way. But if we all have the freedom to create and express ourselves with the same light and camera or equipment provided, they will be completely different. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. So let's begin by getting straight to the topic of discussion. We are looking at scaling your photography business and from being a freelancer to a studio owner. How was that transition for you?
I think pretty straightforward. The first thing I did when I came to Dubai, after 2 months, I opened the studio. First and foremost.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, the reason was why I opened the studio is because I was afraid of taking pictures outside.
I got you.
Bro, I was afraid. First of all, it was hot.
Yeah.
But that's not the fear. That's not the fear. Initially, I'd tried to take pictures in public places. And at this time, it was not really professional.
Okay.
Like it wasn't my job though, not a
I
professional in
understand.
terms of the work.
Yeah.
It was just, because I have friends, I have a camera, I've just come here, so why not take pictures. And then would be stopped by security. If you can't shoot anywhere.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
would be
That's
stopped
very
by
true.
security. So I had this fear of you're not allowed to take pictures in Dubai. So I thought if I need to take pictures, I need to have a studio. So my idea of doing photography as a business here or as a job, I thought if I have a studio, actually inspired by a friend in Kenya, I have a friend in Kenya called Eyeball. He's a very, 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 very talented photographer.
Okay.
He has a studio. So I used to hang around the studio a lot when I'm out of my production work. So from that, it was quick for me to decide to do a studio because I knew I could make nice pictures in the studio and people would easily. And then I had the advantage that if it's hot outside, there will definitely be business for the studio.
For the studio.
Yeah, so that's how the studio actually came about in the first place.
Wow, that was a really smart move. Because the situation in Dubai is if you're taking pictures, let's say in a private property, you need to get an authorization. If you're taking pictures in a public property, you need to get an authorization. So getting pictures outdoors is a little bit tricky. Yeah, even though we still have some places here and there in Dubai where you can actually access and take pictures, and you will not tourists visit Dubai a lot, right? So there are some particular places. I think I will do another podcast where we actually look at some of the places that if you
can
in
do
Dubai
shoots,
you can do shoots, right? Or would you like to share a few of those places if you know?
Actually, the thing is, I go to one place. There's one place I always take my pictures. If you notice,
Okay.
And then it turns out that everyone loves this place.
Okay.
There is a place that has the view of Burj Khalifa.
Yeah. Just
and it has the wings.
The wings of Mexico.
Yeah.
Just behind the wings of Mexico, right?
So that area, I always take most of my pictures there because it's one area that is so large and so broad. So different angles
you can get from
and then
there.
Everyone that is new to Dubai, mostly the tourists, I shoot because I love doing outdoor shoots by myself. However much I have a studio that guys do the studio work.
Okay.
I love doing the outdoor shoots by myself, the flying dress, So every time they come, even if I have like a whole list of places, I don't have my phone with me, but I'll read it out.
Okay.
I have a whole list of places I researched about. But everyone, if you send them a list and then they'll be like, okay. But if you send them, they tell you now, give us the pictures of how these places look like. If you give them the list, the pictures now, besides the list, they will always choose that place. So as me always in business, why should I struggle to force a client to go somewhere they don't like? If they all choose the same place, so
why
let's do the pictures.
That's very
in the same place like I do always. So that's that. But then one thing also, shooting in Dubai, I always use another technique. I'll take the pictures until I'm stopped.
Okay.
I'll come, I tell the client, this place is not allowed, but if they find us, at least let's have taken at least 5 or 4 pictures. So act quickly.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's just a formality, private privacy, but it's the same thing. So when you go to a place that is restricted, we try to, unless it's a government thing or what, those ones we don't.
Yeah.
But normally by the time they come, you tell them, "Oh, I'm sorry," but you already have the shot, and then life goes on.
One of the things that I notice as well is if you have a professional camera and you're shooting in Dubai, it's an issue. But if you have a phone, let's say an iPhone or stuff, you will not be disturbed, right?
Exactly.
And now we know that some of the iPhones are even more powerful. Like, they can even give you better quality photos than some cameras.
Some old.
Than those old cameras, right? Yeah. And when they see you with a professional camera, that's where they come in. Especially if you have like a reflector, you have softbox, you have lights, you have a tripod. Oh my goodness, you can't, right? So
you can't. It's so restricted.
Yeah. So I think it's really something that we need to look into. Why the restrictions? Why? Because Dubai obviously is a tourist destination, and there should be a way around where people can actually take pictures, outdoors and like that.
At first, I used to think it's really unfair. But then with time, I came to understand.
Okay.
If it's for everyone, then it loses value. You understand? So I think a way of preserving these places and preserving the beauty of these places, if someone paid to sit at a place and then someone is there doing a photo shoot for free, I don't think it really gives value to the person who paid to access this place. So I think this kind of restriction is actually not really restricted like we think. Some places will tell you need a license for this. It's a matter of, for example,
you need a permit.
In 2023, I wanted to shoot at City Gate. You know City Gate?
Yes.
I forget the developer. So they gave me a website where I can
apply for
the permit. So jokingly, it was around May. Jokingly, I put the duration of the permit from May to December. Guess what? It got approved.
Wow. Wow.
So I ended up doing shoots at City Gate anytime because online, I don't know if they didn't check the date, but they approved it. So anytime a security guy would come, I would just show it. And they would allow me to take the pictures.
Oh, wow.
But then after that, the next year, which is last year, 2024, when I tried to apply again, they didn't verify it.
Oh.
They didn't verify it. But I think the reason was why they're doing that is because they're trying to preserve their places.
Their places, yeah.
So you just have to find a way of working around it.
Around that. Okay, so let's move on. We are discussing on how you can scale your photography business, right? From being a freelancer to being a studio owner. Can you just briefly tell us the journey, like how it all started? Did you start by getting equipment? Did you start by getting the shop? Did you start by, getting your employees? How did it start?
I started my photography business with a memory card.
Wow.
Okay, that's a joke.
Wow, that's interesting. Whoa.
No, that's a joke.
Okay. I was like, wow,
that's how motivational speakers begin, Yeah, but
try to motivate us, guys.
Yeah, you have to be motivated. They'll tell you they started a farm with what? With milk.
I actually saw something. One guy said he started his restaurant with
one spoon
of rice. I was like, wow.
That's the irony.
Okay.
Well, for me, I moved here in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, in the second half of 2022. That's around July or August, around that time.
Okay.
So when I moved in, I wanted to chase my dreams just like anyone because I was coming from a certain kind of environment where I was doing production. Production is basically shooting films, shooting commercials, shooting interviews, creative kind of work.
Yeah. And
then I was done with Nairobi, the city, and then I felt like, you know what, we always dream higher, just like someone wants to go to the US. I used to come to Dubai for vacations and I felt like, this place is really, 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 really... It's really, really powerful. Just like I know now, Dubai is the place to be now.
Yeah.
So at that time, I knew it would work in Dubai. But then when I moved, things changed drastically because I had a connection of someone who I was going to work with at first. And the day I walk in, this guy is sick. Because I've been talking to him for a week, and then he's like, I'm not feeling well. Then he was admitted the day I flied in, because he was supposed to pick me at the airport, and he didn't. So when he got admitted, he never left the hospital. 3 days later, he passed.
That's really, really sad.
Yeah, this guy had a very, 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 very brilliant guy. He was UK raised, but he was from Uganda, UK raised. So yeah, he passed. And then, of course, work couldn't continue and whatnot. Now I had to draft something else on my own. So I used to stay in GLT, Jimena Lake Towers. And then at that time, now I wanted to connect with communities, find people, find what. So my friends told me, if you want to connect with Ugandans, you have to come to there. That's what I did. I found a partition in... the first partition I stayed was around Arega. Okay. And then I moved to Naif. And then I stayed in the partition for some time. And then that's when I started actually pictures. Actually, how it happened, I had my camera, the Fuji. I came with it from... I love that camera to death.
I think I've used it a couple of times.
I love that camera to death. So I had it, and then at some point I was working with a friend, and then I took some pictures, edited them. So when they saw the pictures, they were like, "These are very nice pictures." And to me, it was not into me to take pictures. And then actually it brings out the statement, the text that it takes another person to see your talent.
To see your talents, that's
Yeah,
true.
you can't tell yourself that you're talented. It has to take someone. That's why we need people. It takes someone to see what you can do.
What you can do.
And if they appreciate what you can do, that's when you pick on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these ladies actually saw my pictures and they really supported me to start. Yeah. They told me you can take really nice pictures. There is no one taking such pictures here. At time there were some people taking pictures, but I think it wasn't
Yeah.
as good. Because
yeah.
for me, I was coming from high-end production. I knew lighting.
You knew.
I knew everything. It wasn't
Yeah.
just, I knew like technically. So when I took pictures, they were like really impressed. So they started connecting me to people. So that is freelance now. Then after that, I think 1 month into it, I decided to get now a studio apartment.
Okay.
So I was supposed to stay at this studio apartment, but at the same time, take pictures there. And I did. That's what I did. I got a studio apartment. It's not like I started big. I got a studio apartment. And then in that studio apartment, it was literally my place.
Yeah.
It was a matter of getting a pull
Yeah.
pull down backdrop.
Backdrops, yeah.
Yeah, pull down backdrop. And all my pictures used to happen on that backdrop. And then I was staying in the same place, but I made it in a way that when you come, you can't know that I stay there. Because I didn't want people to come and then feel like they're
in the house.
They're
or
in my
something.
house, you
Yeah,
know.
I understand that.
It was homely. You could see it's homely, but you wouldn't find a bed. Because the trick was to find a sofa bed. So I got a sofa bed, and that's where I started.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So when you came in, you couldn't tell.
Yeah,
it was
you could not.
really,
You
really.
could not. Yeah.
Because I had everything in place. So when guys came, they would just tell me this is a very nice studio, but I'm not sure a lot of people would realize that that's where I was staying. And it was okay. And then, yeah, that's how we started. And then we were taking pictures. And then, at first guys were really, they're very, very close people besides the people who supported me to start. Some people would tell me, people don't want pictures in the studio. People want pictures outside. Because Dubai is a highlight place. A lot of views and what.
Yeah.
But you don't listen, you're already there. So we continue.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. And guys, I'm sure you're getting, the story and you're learning as we progress. Right now, let's look at the studio setup. Right, right now you have some employees, people who are working with you.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that your team, because it starts with the team. We are going to talk about clients, but let's start with the team.
Yeah.
How did you build your team, and how have you ensured that the team is productive?
So, hey, it's not easy. It's...
Because obviously you need editors, you need
God.
assistants, you need, all of makeup artists. Yeah. So,
So
tell
this
us.
is how it happens, eh?
Okay.
I've worked with a total of 5 people
Okay.
before. The first 2 people I worked with were in the past. I worked with a certain lady, and then I had to let her go because we couldn't, our interests couldn't align. And then I worked with a guy who is my brother, but unfortunately he was deported because he didn't have a visa.
Oh,
And at that time, the business was not strong enough to make for him a visa.
I understand that.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm working with 3 people.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're all having visas.
Beautiful.
So at least now we can't see anyone go out because of visa issues. Yeah. But this other guy, I'm also working hard to bring him back but the problem is on his side and his documentation is still having issues. But as soon as it's sorted, he'll be back.
Okay.
So how do you ensure productivity and how do you come up with the team? The 2 photographers I have, they have all approached me.
Okay.
They have all approached me and they wanted to work with me.
Beautiful.
And I've really considered. And then it's been guys that come to you and then maybe they're not so good, but as long as they know what to do, you can
always polish them up.
Yeah. And that is what happened with my photographers. They knew what to do, but I polished them to at least do the work to what I
to
want
meet
to
up
put
with
out
the
there, to meet
brand
up there with
standards.
Exactly. So that's how we that's how I'm dealing with hiring. If I'm hiring anyone now, I don't really care if you're good or bad, but as long as you can do to some standard, and then from there,
Pick
I
it from
can
there.
polish you to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so far, I'm really lucky. My guys are really cooperative.
Wow. That's
Of course,
nice.
there's those internal, do that, do this, do this, do this. But as long as you can handle these people, I think that's what makes the business going.
Amazing. Now let's look at the opposite side. That has to do with clients, right? You know, with the photography business, you need clients because every business thrives on the
Clientele
clients,
network.
right? The
Yeah.
clientele. How do you get clients, and how do you ensure that these clients keep coming back? Because it's one thing to get the clients; it's another thing to
Retain.
make sure to retain the clients. So how do you ensure that when you get your clients, how do you get them first of all, and how do you make sure that you retain the clients?
So at first I told you I run Fuel Concepts,
Yeah.
and we do marketing. So this marketing is working for us. Yeah, we made sure we implement it with ourselves before it works with anyone else. You understand? So we do a lot of advertising online. That is running adverts, from Google adverts, from Facebook adverts to TikTok ads. We post our work. We make sure everything we do, we try to put it out there. Okay? And then when it's out there, we run sponsored ads. And I run my ads in a way that they come straight to my phone. So that's why you see I'm always
You're always busy, yeah.
I'm always
you're the
trying
admin.
to I'm always communicating with guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our ads come from, our clients come from online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course if someone comes and they like the service, you are sure this
You're
guy will
sure,
come
yeah.
back.
You're very sure.
So that's how we get clients, and that's how we maintain them, by giving them a high quality
High
service.
quality service.
However, it's also progress. Yeah. Because at first when I was starting, I really had a problem with clients because I don't know how to communicate. That's something I'm also still learning.
It was a little bit challenging, but you're getting better as the days go by.
Yeah, very, very challenging, because when someone comes to you, bro, even if it rains, even if your building caught fire, if I paid you to give me one picture, give it to me.
Yeah, of course.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
All
You,
this
you
English
need
we
to deliver.
speak,
You need to deliver.
Exactly, it's delivery. And then it took me a very, very hard time to understand that. I don't know, to some extent, I felt like I'm doing these people a favor. Like, because you know how people want pictures.
Yeah.
It's a crazy energy you cannot explain.
Yeah,
People have
yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
but when they want them, they come and pay
They
for them.
come for
And
them.
then after they pay for them, they will beg you. That is why a photographer is like, I don't know who. Photographers are like, who? Is anyone being begged for a service they paid for, like a photographer? Because the client will tell you, please send my pictures, please help me.
Yeah,
and then this
yeah,
person
yeah.
paid 100%.
Yeah.
So it takes a certain kind of maturity to understand, besides the begging they're doing, and besides the pride you have, it's actually business.
It's business.
If you
of
go
course.
and you pay for a tomato, you get a tomato.
Definitely.
So I start to understand. That's why I push my team so much on delivery. I'm like, if someone pays for something and it can be done today, why do you want to push it until tomorrow?
It has to be done.
Yeah, and then these days I also do a lot of research on how to make everything as smooth as possible. Like for example, when Photoshop introduced AI editing, I think I was one of the first photographers to pick it up.
Amazing.
And in that time, that was 2023, I was editing pictures with AI. And guys would wonder, how do you come up with this? How do you come up with this? And then my workflow was always very fast compared to everyone else. And then at that time, I was actually still working alone.
Oh, wow.
So I used to find, actually, I'm a very lazy person, and I think it helps somehow.
It helps, of course.
Because if you're lazy,
there's something.
Yeah.
There's something that I learned recently. A guy was teaching, and he said, in your team, try to have one lazy person, because the lazy person will always try to look for the shortest possible way to sort out or to resolve the issue.
Bro, that is me. I think I'm the lazy person in our team.
Wow.
Because, bro, like right now, I found another software
Okay.
that can retouch better than you. Bro, you put the picture within one click. It has turned the face, it has turned everything the way girls want it. Because at the end of the day, there's what we want to do. We want
This is
to
what
feel
the
like,
customers want.
yeah, we want to feel like we've done a lot of work. But you spend an hour on an image, and the client doesn't like it simply because it's not impressive. If I tell you to change, your point will not be that I've told you to change that. Your point will be you spent an hour on this thing, and now they don't like
Yeah. And it's
so the
really
easiest thing to do is come up with ways of being feasible, being quick,
yeah.
in the work.
Yeah.
So that even if there is changes, because at the end of the day, we want to impress the person who is giving us their money. So that even if there's changes, it's not a feeling of how you're going to, go back the whole way and spend a lot of time trying to implement the same thing you have been implementing.
Okay. That's really, really amazing. And it's a challenge dealing at times with clients. How do you handle difficult clients?
If I tell the truth, it's not good.
How do you handle difficult clients? Because there are some clients who will come to you and they are like all over. They are on your neck. Like, yeah. How do you handle those kind of clients?
In the past, I used to block people. That is the bitter truth. In the past, I used to block people. And then at some point, I used to refund. I had a very bad attitude. I used to refund. I used to block people. Because I think I was a very sensitive person. And at time, I'm telling you all these things. I used to face a lot of things until I came to the maturity to learn that in business, you don't get emotional.
Very true.
Yeah. Regardless whether it's raining, whether it's summer, you have to deliver. You understand? So when I was working alone, it used to be so difficult to deal with some people. Like there are people who will give you, like there is a lady who paid for 30 pictures. She selected all of them. Okay. When you select, there is no way they'll change. You can be my witness, right?
Of course.
If you make a selection on the system and you highlight the pictures you want, there is no way.
Yeah.
There is no way this art will change.
Yeah.
She selected 30 images. I edited all the 30 images. And now the problem is she came today, she wanted the pictures tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. She wanted the pictures the same day at midnight.
My. 30 images.
30 images.
Oh.
And that was good money, eh?
I understand. But now, deliver.
I started editing. I'm so excited. Everything looks good on my side. Bro, sending her the pictures is like, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like that. Out of 30, I think she wanted me to change over 20-something pictures.
My.
And then she was saying, these pictures are not the ones I chose. And she was shouting.
That's serious.
She was shouting.
That's serious.
Bro, I got angry. I got mad. I even got teary.
I can
because
imagine
how do you reduce 6 hours of sitting down?
Of sitting down. I mean, retouching is a lot. Some of the clients don't actually understand what it takes to retouch a photo.
They don't even know what they want. And that's the third thing. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, they don't know. Even recently, I have a case where a client came in. She did 10 pictures. It was a couple shoot. And bro, I was looking at the things she's saying, the changes she's asking for. Bro, I was looking at them like this. And in my heart, I was like, I'm glad I'm not the one doing this.
And one of the things...
In my heart, I was like, I'm glad I'm not the one supposed to do this. Because me, what I do if they deliver, I click on the image, I see what the client wants, what she's saying. I look for validity because,
Yeah.
And then at times I'm telling my team, this one wants this. At times you have to side with your team.
Yes.
Because
of course.
Because you know what how clients are.
Yes.
So tell them, you know what, this person is saying this, but this is not really.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But you know what, just do something to
do something to please the client. But the thing is, there are certain things that are possible. All right, especially with editing, right? There are some things that are possible, but some things are practically not possible with editing. So understanding your software means that you know the limitations. You know what this software can do and what it cannot do, right? But for the clients, there are certain things that they just believe that you can do.
And then the other problem is a client may want you to do something, but that's not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like you go to the hospital and then you want a surgery, and then you've gone to the dentist. They won't do that.
You don't do that.
However much they are all doctors. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So some clients come and then they have demands, and the problem is you'll do a shoot. You know how it is. If I want a picture to come out in a certain mood, I'll light the picture in a certain
In
way.
a certain way.
I'll add gels if necessary. I'll choose the background because I know that's the direction it's going. You understand? I'll decide whether it's a lot of light or low light. Yeah. Is it warm? Is it cool? Those things can be manipulated later, but very, very important if you're doing the shoot. So a client will come, do the shoot innocently. She'll choose the pictures. At this point, you're at par. When you edit the pictures and deliver, then she'll send you samples. I actually want them to look like this.
My goodness, that's
That is
a
what
whole,
happened with that
that's
scenario.
a lot.
Oh, immediately after the shoot, she's home now. She has selected everything. I want my pictures to look like this. And the way you shot those images, there is
no way you can. Yeah, of course, because the lighting plays a role, the colors, everything, the framing.
And you know, some pictures, if I shoot a lady with hair on a certain background, the air will spill on the clothes. The background will spill on the hair, on the clothes. And then also, the cameras also interpret colors according to what subjects you've put in front of it. So if I have a red background behind me, and then I've shot you on a red background, because that was my vision with your outfit by then, and then you come up and tell me, I want this on a white background.
You want a white background.
That means you'll look reddish, white. And then after that, you'll say, the work is
not good. So this is the thing. Well, I think at times the clients, because I'm saying this because this podcast actually is to educate photographers, is to educate clients, content creators, videographers, all those who are in the creative field, right? There are certain challenges that we face, and it's as a result of ignorance. It's better to discuss the concepts of your shoots, send samples if possible before you shoot, because after the shoot there are some limitations already. There are certain things that cannot really be changed or that cannot really work. Oh wow. So guys, we're still having 4 concepts for photography right here with us in the studio, and we're discussing on how you can scale your photography business from being a freelancer to a studio owner. And we've been discussing some of the challenges that he faced, his story and all of that. And right now, we'll just go a step further. I would like to find out from you, right? How do you know when to invest in equipment, in your team, I mean, even in your space, and how do you determine the different percentages of your investment?
Okay, first and foremost, I'll start with the last one. How do you determine the biggest percentage of your investment? If you're a photographer, let me tell you this. The first thing you need to invest in is your marketing. Yeah? Bro, or sis, your survival depends on how many people contact you, how many people see you out there. Yeah? And then all that will be leaning on, do you deliver what you've promised? Because we have a problem where someone will try to compete or compare themselves with other photographers. Yeah? You actually don't have to be the best. Be good enough to impress some people. Yeah? Because even the best photographers, do you know that even the best photographers have class that tell them this is rubbish?
Of course. It depends on the, the concept, right? It depends on the concept. Are you able to bring out what the client has in his or her mind?
Exactly.
So long as you're able to bring that to life, you're a good photographer.
Yeah, so as much as I know, because you see, I'm a good photographer, you're a good photographer, there are people who will die, who will say, if you know this guy, I'm not taking pictures.
That's very true.
Same to me. There are people who come to the studio and tell me, yo, if you're not here, I'm not taking pictures. You understand? So number one, make sure people are seeing you. Spend your money on your adverts. Spend your money on flyers. Spend your money on things that are going to give you business. That's number one. And then number two, investment in your business. Make sure everything you buy Everything you buy has a purpose. Because you know what you don't have and you know what you have. So you just have to create categories of what you really need versus what you really want. Yeah? We all want the latest camera. But do we really need it?
Do we really need it? That is the question.
Yeah? It's a game of do you want it or do you need it? And then now let me tell you, do you realize the best camera in 2010 was the best camera in 2010? Do you want it now? You understand?
That's the question.
Does the price of that camera even come close to the camera you're using now? You see, so there's what we call trends and then there's what we call industry standards. Yeah. So as long as you know, so actually from my experience, a camera for as cheap as $300 can make you tens and tens and can support your studio for years. $300 camera. It doesn't matter which year it was released. As long as it has the resolution, yeah, as long as it has the color science that you want, don't stress yourself with all these things. Just get a good camera. Doesn't have to be expensive. As long as it can take the picture and has a good resolution, get yourself a decent lens. It can open at least 1.8, you know, or 2.8. You don't need those, you know, those high class. The people buying those lenses are earning 10 times the amount that lens he bought on one project.
On one project, that's true.
Yeah?
That's true. Return on investment.
Exactly. But then you're making yourself broke on the same equipment. Like me, I'm at a point where I've done it all. I've bought all those things I really thought I really need. And guess what? I kept them. I have them in my house. I have a drone I've never used. Because I wanted it. I saw it. I wanted it. And then I realized.
You really don't need those
It's 2 years, bro. I've not touched that thing.
Wow.
2 years.
And I really want to add something to that. There is this this syndrome. They call it GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome, right? And every photographer, trust me, every photographer, every videographer, every content creator, they have it.
Guilty.
They have it, you know, but they have it in different degrees, right? When there's a new camera, oh my goodness, there's a new camera. Sony just released this. I need to get that camera.
They'll make
and
you
that's
feel
what they'll sell. They'll sell their cameras, sell, you know, their properties, or, you know, get a loan to get that camera. And then at the end of the day, they realize that you will never truly have all the cameras, because the camera production companies are releasing new cameras every now and then, right? So by the time you get this camera, there's a new release. By the time you get the new release, there's another one, right? So at the end of the day, it's very, very important as a creative to know what you need and what you want, right?
Exactly.
But are we saying that these good cameras or these expensive gears are not important?
No, we're not saying that. But it goes back to your clientele.
Okay.
For example, how much is a cinema camera?
Cinema cameras are really, really pricey.
Exactly.
Are really, really pricey. If you're looking at a good cinema camera, you should be, you know, budgeting somewhere around $3,000, $4,000, like that.
And that is not even Netflix approved. You understand? You need to understand one thing. Do you know movies are shot on rented cameras? The Hollywood movies. The production company does not own that camera. Most of the movies acting out. I give a lot of reference for a movie because it's my
Your
thing,
field,
you know?
yeah, it's your thing.
So these people rent a camera per day for the length they're shooting. Because the amount of renting that camera is just a portion, you know, compared to buying it. You may find the whole production budget is the amount you need to buy everything you're going to use only on camera and lenses. So it's up to you as a photographer or as a creator to be smart with your money.
That's
know?
right.
Everything you see is designed to take money from your pocket. And if you get money and pay, that person has won already.
Of course.
Because of your needs. So it's smart to know if I'm doing this kind of project, my equipment, depending on the client, will satisfy, will deliver. Versus, do I need to rent a certain camera? Like for me, there are projects I get and I know I have to rent a camera. I have to rent a Red Dragon for, let's say, 25,000. I mean 25 dirham, 2,500 dirhams, 2,500 dirhams. I rent the camera because the budget was there for that particular project. Or this client is paying X amount and this fits what I have, so I'll do that. I think that's how you should do. If you, depending on the project, because rentals are there for that reason.
Yes.
This person will invest because he knows today you'll take, tomorrow another guy will take, tomorrow another guy will take, tomorrow another guy will take,
And that's
how
a
he'll
business
make.
model.
Yeah. But if yours is trying to, because you'll buy that thing and then you put it there and then you have one client for that thing. And you burnt your money. Bro, if you had put this man on the marketing side,
It'll make you more money.
yeah, you have to be an entrepreneur in how you handle your business as a photographer. And I think the biggest problem is also people don't have the eye of an entrepreneur in their business. They still see if you still see photography as a
hobby or as an art.
And hobby is an excuse. I came to realize photographers say that as an excuse. Fine, you like doing it, but this is what is feeding you. But it should be a business or it should be your job.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have people working with you, that's not a job. You should treat it as a job, and then you should know to get from it, you need to add into it.
Very true.
Yeah, and all that cuts across how you manage your finances, how you know what to add, and then how to really impress the people you're working for.
Wow. Right, guys, I'm very sure that you've gotten a lot so far from today's episode, and we're gradually going to the end of this episode. But I would like to find out from you again, what is your advice to a photographer out there who has plans of making it as a professional photographer and who intends scaling his or her business?
Okay, first and foremost, if you really want to, you should look at yourself. Not everything is for everyone. Look at yourself and then realize, do you want to do photography as a business, or do you want to be the one doing the photography yourself? There are people who are good at being a personal photographer, yet when they can't work with other people, or they want to really do everything for themselves, and they're okay with that. So if you want to scale into a business, you should, first of all, research your knowledge. Do you know what it takes to run a business? Because now if you're doing photography as a business, you somehow stop being the photographer. You understand? You have to realize that you now have to trust people, which is very hard. You have to trust people with your clients, because if something backfires,
they'll come back to you.
You are responsible. And then it actually, even way from the creative part, there are things that go into running a business, financial management, and then the marketing bit, the branding bit, you understand? And then if you're managing a team, you have to learn how to, things like conflict resolution.
And all of that.
You understand? Things like motivating your people to work with you, You have to learn how to be a leader if you're going into the business direction. So for someone starting, I'd really recommend you, if you have saved up some cash and you want to do it, bro, do it. Let it fail, at least you did it. Yeah?
Yes.
Because it's not hard. If you are walking and it's night, you are scared, you are shivering in the dark, but at the end of the day, you are moving forward. You understand? So, bro, start. That's the first thing. Okay. Start. Whatever it takes you, let it take you there.
And wherever you are, just start.
Yeah. The worst that can happen is you starting again if this one fails.
Yeah. But at that time, you're not starting again from scratch. You're starting from experience.
By the way, yeah. Because if you fail the first trial, that is, I don't think that's even a failure. That's a way, that is your trigger of telling you aren't ready for this. So what did you do wrong and you're supposed to do right this time? Yeah. And then the other thing is trying to communicate with people. Because I realize one of the biggest problems Africans have is you want to do everything on your own. You understand? But if you had come up with a partnership, or you had someone to invest in you, in what you do. I know people, I have a friend, he he got lots of opportunities of people putting money into his business, and he was declining.
Oh.
Do you know why? He wanted to be the boss. And that's a very bad
that's
mindset.
a topic for another day, because those are some of the things that we need to really discuss, and then know how people can really get into partnerships, how they can get brand deals, in fact how they can access and examine an investment to know if it's the right investment or it's not the right investment for them. The knowledge is very important. Very, very
Yeah,
important.
I think because if we start that topic, we will not finish.
Yeah, definitely.
I follow I follow a lot of entrepreneur talks.
Okay.
I follow a lot of entrepreneurs who have really made it to the base scale that really, really motivate me and inspire me. Like my vision is always inspired by people who are doing things in the real world.
Wow.
And then from that, I've really had a lot of mentorship on how Africans view business
And
versus how it's supposed to be done.
to be done.
Yeah. Like I'll pass this because it really needs to be heard. Don't think of owning a business 100%. Yeah. Make sure you have a lot of equity, but from other people. Don't be hungry to own something. Rather be hungry for growth. You understand? If someone is investing, let's say 10,000 dirhams in your business, think about it. Would you rather own a business? Would you rather own 20% of a business that is worth 10,000 dirhams, or do you rather own 100% of a business that is worth 2,000 dirhams?
That's the question.
You understand?
We have to
So
think smart.
the bigger the investment is in your business, the bigger you have opportunities. And now you'll go to doors you wouldn't have opened on your own.
Yeah.
And that's what partners do. If you get someone who is really there financially, this person comes. But other people don't understand. Money is not just money. Money is energy. Money is everything combined. Energy, network. Because if you're at a certain amount of earning, that means you are dealing with a certain amount of people.
Of course.
You understand? That bring this money in, or at a certain degree of people who have invested. Because if I'm talking to you, high chance, if I'm talking to you every day, high chance we are in the same bracket.
Yes.
So if your partner is on another level of income, he'll only lift you to
that level of
his level. Instead of you trying to be here, trying to be the boss in a very, very small
way.
pond.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a business class altogether. And I think as we round off, I just want to find out from you one last question. How does it feel like running a photo studio?
Stress, bro. Every day you'll wonder where the client's gonna come from. And then when you see inquiries and they don't convert, you feel angry.
Oh, this guy just came in, just to ask.
Exactly, but I'll be honest with you, it's freedom. Most especially like in a country like Dubai, it's freedom. Who doesn't want to wake up in the morning and decide to sleep again? Leave alone these things they tell you, oh, you have to wake up at 5, you have to do this. You don't have to do anything. You just have to make sure
you have a system in place.
You have a system in place that things get done, and then business comes in. Okay? You don't have to do anything. I think everyone should try to fight for their freedom. The only reason was why you are waking up every day to go on a shift, and then you have to come back from the shift and then go to another one, is because you want a guarantee that your house is going to be paid, and that you're going to be eating every day, that you have your visa, and that guarantee is what you call your salary.
Yeah, you have a paycheck at the end of the month.
That is why you are doing that every day. But at the end of the day, if you know the money is going to come in, I always ask people, if you knew your lunch is sorted, your rent is sorted, yeah. If you knew if you're sick, you're going to get treatment. If you knew if you want to go out, you'll go out.
You want to fly, you'll
fly out. What will you be doing?
That's a very important
a lot of time, that question. What will you be doing with yourself? Yeah. And then that's when people go in a shock and they realize, okay, I'm actually here. Like, if you do we humans are designed in a way that if you do something for so long, it becomes part of you.
Yeah, it becomes part of you.
You normalize it. So the business and running a studio, it kind of gave me the freedom and the peace. And I have time now to think about
other things.
Yeah. Because if the studio is funding a good percentage of my life compared to versus like in conjunction with other errands that I run and what, I have time now to chase a dream, another dream.
That's true.
Because this is funding the basics.
Percentage of.
And now I have time, and actually what a business gives you is time. So it's up to you to use that time to chill or to grow more.
Yeah. Okay. It was really an amazing time, having you on the podcast. And from what I've noticed is you have so much to share on this particular podcast. And I hope, you definitely come back, from time to time so we can handle other topics. Yeah. So we can grow the community. And okay, guys, at this point, I would just like to find out your final words. So before we go.
My final words would be, I'll actually motivate guys who are trying to do business. If you're a photographer, if you're a makeup artist, if you're a fashion something, if you're selling food, whatever you're doing, just try to find out what are you not doing that the person that you admire are doing. You understand? And then the moment you get comfortable, you start dying. If you're not growing, you are dying. You understand? So whatever you do, innovation should be at the front.
If you're not updating yourself, you're outdating.
You need to update yourself every day.
Yeah.
I'll use this, be lazy, but lazy in a way that you're trying to find solutions. Yeah? You're trying to find easier ways of doing things, but still to the right quality or to the right satisfaction of your clients.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much. All right, guys, that was it for today. I hope you were able to pick a lot from today's episode of the podcast. And of course, we had 4 concepts with us. And if you've subscribed to our channel, thank you very much. If you've not subscribed to our channel yet, just click on the red subscribe button and then turn on notifications so that each time we post a video, you will be notified. And of course, I'm also going to be leaving the links to our 4 concepts so you can always get in contact with him.
I'll quickly tell them. You can actually follow me on Instagram, Fuel Photography DXB. You can follow my studio on TikTok, Fuel Photography Studio.
Beautiful.
Yeah, those 2 links are the most important ones.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. So until we meet again in the next episode, do have a wonderful time and stay blessed.